Hello, everybody. So I did promise y'all that I would do a reaction to the Steve-O Wild Ride podcast that featured Bam Margera that was posted just a few days ago, but actually was recorded back in May. Now, I don't want to get the conspiracy theory factory going on why it is they would have held on to that footage, that explosive radioactive footage for 3 months. So I won't. Y'all take your best guess as to why they held on to that footage for 3 months. Anyway, they talk about a lot of stuff in the podcast that I really just don't give a shit about, and I think a lot of it has to do with trying to clear up the reputation of people that Steve-O cares about, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. I really don't know anything. I do want to take the opportunity because I know for certain Steve-O is going to be watching this to tell Steve-O that I am more than happy to come on his Wild Ride podcast and say the things that I actually believe. The issue with the Wild Ride podcast, and in particular with Steve-O's comments on the Free Bam movement and on Lima and on what the Free Bam movement has said, is that he's mistaken. So we'll get into the things that I do want to address, but I just want to say, if you want to watch the whole entire podcast, you need to head over to Steve-O's channel to do it. I'm not going to be playing all that bullshit on this channel. What I will be playing on this channel is a few edits of interesting things that I thought were said and my reaction to things that I actually think require a reaction. Otherwise, sit back, hold on tight, and get ready for a wild ride.
Hey everybody, and welcome to an explosive wild ride with Steve-O. This is the first that anybody has heard from my dear friend Bam Margera in quite some time. And with that said, there's been a lot of rumors and conspiracy theories and crazy stuff swirling around Bam, and I'm thrilled.
It's not that crazy what I'm saying. It is crazy to the extent that I can't believe it's real life. But if Steve-O actually watched my channel and was dealing in good faith, he would know that the stuff I'm saying ain't crazy. The stuff I'm saying makes sense because it's based in evidence.
I'm thrilled that you're going to be able to hear from Bam what really has been going on. And as we go into this, I would love to set the record straight.
It's funny to me the words that Steve-O uses, like he's thrilled. And that's why I did that edit. A lot of this video is going to obviously be edited. I did this edit. But again, I'm not trying to hide nothing from y'all. Go to Steve-O's podcast and watch the whole thing yourself. It's interesting to me because Steve-O uses words that he doesn't mean. And it's very obvious, like, I'm thrilled. That's not how someone acts when they're thrilled. I'm so happy. No, you're not. You obviously are not happy. Like something's wrong with you. Your words don't match up with your actions.
That number one, Bam has not ever been under a conservatorship. That the temporary guardianship he was under did not ever have any financial implications.
Who are you to him?
I'm an interventionist, and I was hired to get him to treatment.
Okay.
So
you were hired by
by the trustee. There's a trust. You'll see a trust. He has a guardian.
Did not ever have any financial implications. And what's come to be known as the Free Bam movement has really been very toxic. It's served to try to assassinate the character of Bam's former guardian, Lima.
We're going to use Amanda as a case study.
Oh my God! What the
She had passed away. It's been a really, really big shock for us. I know that they did a toxicology report. All she had in her system was Tylenol. I'm just gonna read it word for word of what we got. The cause of death was marked as a seizure disorder.
Who has never been paid to work on Bam's case. Has never done anything but try to help Bam.
She's the worst guardian ever awarded.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Worst guardian ever awarded.
I'm looking out for your best interest. No, you get the worst guardian ever award.
This is the stubborn one?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And it's been very upsetting to see people not only encouraging Bam to leave treatment and go get loaded, but
Okay. This part I have to stop. And I want to make it very clear. I absolutely refuse to accept the allegation, the libelous and defamatory allegation that I have ever encouraged anyone to get loaded. I have not. So Steve-O is lying about me. I have never encouraged Bam to leave treatment and get loaded. It's a false statement of fact purporting to be the truth. I've never, ever, ever said that Bam should leave treatment nor get loaded. I'm shaken thinking about how pissed it makes me that Steve-O would make such an irresponsible, libelous, defamatory allegation because it is not true. What I have advocated for is for Bam to make his own decisions about his own recovery. What I have advocated for is for Bam Margera, a grown, competent man, to make his own decisions about which chemicals go into his body and which treatment center he's at, whether he wants to receive that type of treatment or not. It looks to me, based on evidence, and maybe I'm wrong, but it looks to me like Lima was the person responsible for making Bam's healthcare decisions. And that is what I'm advocating against. I have never, ever once said that Bam should leave treatment nor get loaded. And the allegation that I have said that is false. So I just want to get that part out on the record real quick.
But just attacking this woman who's been so helpful and so beloved by Bam's family and friends. So I just wanted to set the record straight on that. Also, this episode was recorded a while back and we held on to it until now.
Why?
And with that said,
why?
Let's get into it.
Why they hold on to it? If you go look at Steve-O's views on his podcast, he gets 300,000, sometimes 1 million here and there. The Bam one is over 1.5 million. He knew this shit was going to get views. So why did Steve-O hold on to this for 3 months, knowing it was going to get views? You tell me.
See on our souls, ladies and gentlemen, Bam Margera.
Yeah, man. Here I am in Orlando, Florida. I got a break from treatment center in Boca Raton. Phoenix is super stoked because he's going to Disney tomorrow.
I love it. We've taken care of letting everybody know where you are.
Let's put your social security number up on next, if you don't mind.
My conspiracy theory is that Bam was telling all these details because he wanted it to be out, what exactly has been going on. And he's saying, look, I'm in Orlando. I'm going to Disney tomorrow. He's making it clear where he is, what time it is, what's going on in the world. I also think it's very weird that Steve-O usually has people come onto his bus for the podcast, and Bam seems to be in some type of room, like a bedroom or something. I don't know. He's saying he's in Orlando, but I really don't know.
Yeah.
Wow,
but I'm not stoked because I went skating for the first day and some little poison shit ass waxed a half pipe open like an iceberg Eskimo, and like a penguin, I broke my wrist and elbow. They gave me the shit that killed Michael Jackson and knocked me straight out. Put it back in the place. They're he cannot be awake for this shit.
So, dude, let's just come out and say it that us having this conversation is fucking explosive, almost radioactive.
I did a year of alcohol treatment and I actually have never felt better. I actually didn't realize I had such a problem that I did. And
do. That's a distinction that we need to be clear about.
Yeah, I guess do.
Yeah.
Because Novak said, dude, if you just do a year, you'll understand how much better you will feel. Because you always go 30 to 60 days, maybe 90 tops. But if you just do a year, you'll understand. And I call him up after a year. I'm like, Novak, I understand. I get it. I feel great now. I just don't want to return to that anymore.
Okay. And I think that is very good. I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
It's really weird how sort of preachy Steve-O is in this interview, like condescending and sort of been there, done that. He knows better than you. And it's like, you don't. Like, it's this weird, like, I don't know. The only way I can describe it is mansplaining, but like, it is very obvious to me that Steve-O seems to be enjoying this whole thing. Like, he's liking it. He's liking like humiliating Bam. He's liking that Bam is in the spot he's in. And it's very strange to me how preachy Steve-O is considering his track record. I don't know. It's just instead of being compassionate and understanding, it seems like Steve-O is taking this opportunity to dogpile onto Bam even more. And I don't really think that's cool.
To give myself the advantage, you know, like, and
Yeah.
you got to know,
Yeah.
you know, it's not my job to say who's an alcoholic or who's not, but I think that we can agree.
Yeah.
This next part is just like some things I edited together until they get to the free Bam stuff.
I think that we can agree.
Yeah.
The whole gorilla came out of the cage, and the whole gorilla comes out of the cage, and you can't get the gorilla back in the cage.
Yeah.
You didn't control shit. and I'm particularly nervous, and then the whole gorilla comes out of the cage again. Like, I really
I don't want to do that anymore.
These plant oils are getting the job done, proven by 5-star reviews. Let's get you off the stupid vape and the stupid tobacco, get you on fume. The whole gorilla comes.
What? The man is selling essential oil vapes and saying, get off the vape? What? He's selling vapes to people who are like addicted to stuff. What?
Out.
Done a year without a phone. I haven't had internet privileges. I haven't had music privilege because all the music's on my.
Okay. So this part is actually very disturbing to me because I know, like, as a creative person, as an artist, and as like someone who's pretty spiritual, like how important being able to choose your own music is. And I think that, you know, when you're in recovery from anything, your soul needs music, and it needs music that resonates with you, that you can identify with. And Bam is telling us he couldn't even choose his own music for that whole year that he was in recovery. And so it makes me wonder whether the people in charge of his care actually understand what's needed for someone in recovery. And I know a lot of y'all are going to say, well, I couldn't have my phone and my iPod in recovery either. I think you should have been able to. That's just my opinion. But if we really look into what Bam Margera is saying here, it might start to become clear why they held on to this footage for 3 months. Because it really doesn't help them. They took his phone. They took his internet. They further isolated him. What do people always say about addiction? It is a disease of isolation. Addiction is a disease of isolation, is what I've always heard. And so if that's true, how is taking someone's phone privileges, their internet privilege, and music? The man couldn't choose his own music for a year. And I don't find that hard to believe. They treat you like you are a prisoner in a lot of these rehabs. They don't treat you nice. They don't treat you like a person, like a human being with a spirit and a soul that needs to be nourished. They treat you like cattle, or they treat you like an advertising opportunity, or they treat you like a paycheck walking through the door. Whoever can private pay gets in faster and all that. It's heartbreaking to me to imagine that you're trying to recover from anything and you're not able to choose your own music. Like, that is such a fundamental part of being human. I can't even imagine how you could recover from anything without being able to choose your own music, especially someone who is so musically inclined and oriented. Like, we know that Bam is.
Music privilege because all the music's on my phone. So like, once I turn my phone on and everybody knows I did a year sober, I have all these business opportunities that I do not want to fuck up. It's kind of like when Novak got the opportunity to work for Banyan Treatment Center, and he got a really big paycheck that he's like, oh my God, you know, like he knows that if he sips on even a glass of wine and Banyan finds out, he's forever. So like, he does not want to ruin his relationship with Banyan. He's making great money and he's helping people.
It's so funny how Bam, he like totally like Free Britney's this interview, like how we used to do at the courthouse. People would ask us a question, but we were getting our talking points in. It did not matter if that question had to do with our talking points or not. We are forcing our talking points into it. And I feel like that's what Bam is doing. Like, they're asking questions, and then he's taking the opportunity to like throw Brandon Novak under the bus for making money from Banyan Treatment Center. Like he wanted that talking point to come out, and he got it out. It's just funny to me.
But I got so much to say. Like in
So now this part, Bam is about to say something that really hit home with me. He's about to talk about how he used to get high-fived for this behavior, and now all of a sudden, for whatever reason, it's a problem. And it comes after some stuff in the Steve-O interview. This is just kind of an out of context edit, but I want y'all to really hear what Bam has to say here.
Jackass 2, I got 5 drunk at the LAX airport with brass knuckles. I got a felony charge, and I got high five for good press. Now I wind up sipping on a beer out front of a hotel on TMZ, and I get kicked out for being a liability. It's just ridiculous.
What's really going on?
Okay. I mean, I'll entertain some of that. And back in the days of Jackass #2, we were in our heyday. We were at our worst. Drugs and alcohol were still working for us. Nobody was getting locked up in rehab or jail.
I got locked up in the psychiatric ward for suicidal behavior. I wasn't really actually doing anything suicidal. I was just making outrageous claims about being ready to die.
Or like just, having public meltdown. I will say specifically Tremaine and Knoxville saved my life by enforcing some consequences.
Well, they made me want to jump off the tallest building on the planet.
Okay, be careful with saying things like that because that triggers 5150s and saying I want to jump up.
I said
A theme I noticed in this interview is Steve-O trying to force Bam to be someone he just is not. And I think that might be the overarching problem with this whole team around Bam. Bam is saying those two people literally made me want to DIE. And here comes Steve-O. Don't say stuff like that because then you're going to have to go to a 5150. What? The man is telling you that he was in such distress that he didn't want to go on living, and you are laughing at him and making jokes about being locked up against his will. And this is why I do this type of work. Because in some distorted communities, cults, they have convinced themselves that taking away someone's individuality is what they're supposed to do. Taking away someone's true feelings about something is what they're supposed to do in order to make the general public more comfortable with, that person. It's like, you can't say how you're feeling. And that is the mental health stigma that we're all facing, but in particular men. Because there's people out here like Bam who are brave and courageous enough to say, look, those people made me want to DIE. And then here's people laughing at them going, be careful saying that. And then everyone's surprised why they turn up DEAD the next day or the next, you know what I mean? Like, the man is obviously crying out for help. And here's Steve-O laughing at him, threatening that he's going to get locked up in an involuntary psychiatric hold. Maybe that's really what put us in the place that we are in today. When people are sad and upset, we're not supposed to lock them up. We're supposed to help them. We're supposed to be there for them as a community. We're not supposed to laugh at them. What is wrong with Steve-O? What in the messed up mental conditions are we talking about here where you can't even tell your friends, look, those guys made me like not even want to go on living. You better be careful. You're going to get locked up. Something is wrong with this man. He needs Jesus. He needs prayers. He needs something because something's going on up here that's messed up. And look how we're going to watch that scene again. Look how he always, from now on, notice when he's talking to Bam, he's always doing this weird body language thing. Like, it's almost like a defense mechanism. Like, I don't know. I'm not a body language expert, but like Steve-O's hand is like up. Like he's like, like, I don't get it. Like, it's like, I I don't know. It's weird. Like, give me your body language analysis, what you think's really going on here. But like, watch his hands and stuff.
Some consequences.
Well, they made me want to jump off the tallest building on the planet.
They're laughing at
Okay,
him.
be careful with saying things like that because that triggers 5150s and saying I want to jump up.
I said that's why I got in my position because I said if I don't see my kid, if he's not on that airplane, then I'm going to jump off a bridge or something.
Right.
And then I got Marchman acted in.
So what he's describing is parental alienation, where you keep someone's kid from them in order to make them behave. And we saw it with Brittany. And now that's what Bam himself is describing. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is Bam's words himself, that they kept his child from him and it made him want to end his life. Like, and it's a joke on Wild Ride podcast. That's a joke. That's funny.
That's why I got in my position because I said if I don't see my kid, if he's not on that airplane, then I'm going to jump off a bridge or something.
Right.
And then I got Marchman acted in Florida.
So this is an ex parte Marchman pickup order for this guy. His name is Brandon Magera, but he goes by Bam from that show Jackass. It's just like he can't go to Tranquil Shores though.
What?
He cannot go to Tranquil Shores in his condition right now.
Why can't he go now?
To Tranquil Shores under the instructor, they're not going to take him in his condition.
So he's gonna have to go to the hospital?
To the jail.
Now might be a good time to mention that Stephen B. Timmer actually works for Tranquil Shores, the center that he's trying to get Bam put into. He also is a co-petitioner along with Lima on this Marchman order that you're watching be effectuated right now. So Stephen B. Timmer works at Tranquil Shores and worked with Lima to put Bam into Tranquil Shores.
The only way that you can get an LPS conservatorship put through is if the person is in holding. And so the person must be in holding in either a jail
Or to either the jail
or a psychiatric hospital.
I'm looking out for your best interest. No, you get the worst guardian ever.
This is the stubborn one?
Yeah.
Which means you have to do 90 days or something.
It means I have to go to rehab again?
Yeah, the judge signed you.
How long do you think?
I don't know.
A month?
We have
I don't even know why.
we're the messenger.
Yeah, I don't know why you're going. I don't know what the case is. I don't know any of that. So.
Yeah, I don't think anybody
All I get is the paper.
I feel like I don't deserve it.
All I get.
Bam said, I feel like I don't deserve this. This is the Marchman Act he just mentioned on Steve-O's podcast. I'm showing y'all footage from the police body camera.
Is the paper that says he has to go and we serve it to him.
That's Bam Margera. Yeah, that's why you're like, you look like Bam. I'm like, wait, I'm confused. Is this not Bam?
Yeah.
This is Bam.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what blew my mind. I was like,
110%.
I was like, oh yeah, you had the one on MTV too.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That show actually. That
whole
was the show.
reunion.
I did Madero Beach on the west side, and I made it 75 days. I had 15 days left. And they're like, Bam, you've been rocking the same sweatpants for 75 days.
That's what gravely disabled means, is that the person cannot provide shelter, food, or clothing for themselves. It only has to be one of these three. And by clothing, it could be that the person will not change their clothes for a long period of time. So bacteria buildup can also cause a health risk to that person.
And I made it 75 days. I had 15 days left. And they're like, Bam, you've been rocking the same sweatpants for 75 days. I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to get any around here. I don't give a shit. And they're like, well, you're getting kicked out for bad hygiene. I'm like,
Bacteria buildup, health risk.
oh my God. So I get to another place in Ocala National Forest. So I'm like, so this is day 76. They're like, oh no, you're starting at square one. I'm like, mother. So I make it to day 80 there. And
They're shuffling him around to different rehabs. Now, this is according to Bam. I'm just assuming what he's saying is true. Could not be. I really don't know. But he's making it like 75, 80 days in these facilities, then he's getting transferred and having to start at day one. Is it possible they didn't tell him up front that he was in a year of court order treatment? I don't know how it could possibly be. But either Bam's like intentionally misrepresenting stuff or that's really what happened. I mean, those are the only two options. And so it's like, did he really get kicked out of a rehab for wearing the same sweatpants for 75 days? Like, that doesn't seem correct. But he's saying it. So I don't know. Comment below what you think that's all about. But they're definitely, if what he's saying is true, they're like clearly shuffling him around to different rehabs. And for what reason, I don't know. Is it possible he really got kicked out because he didn't change his sweatpants? That seems weird to me. But I've never actually been a patient at a rehab. I've been to rehabs before. Many of my family members have gone. I've gone to the family visit days and the, A&Ons or whatever meetings and all that. But I'd never been in a rehab. So I don't know if people, get kicked out for wearing the same sweatpants for 75 days. Comment below what your experience is if you have any.
I smoke a cigarette, smoking in a bush, and you could have lit the whole national forest on fire. You're getting sent to West Palm Beach. I'm like, motherfucker. Now I know I'm getting back to square one.
So he was in Tranquil Shores for 75 days and got kicked out for not changing his sweatpants. Then he was in another rehab in the middle of a national forest, I guess. And he got kicked out for putting a cigarette in a bush, which maybe that was the rules. I mean, honestly, that does seem like a fire hazard. Maybe he did get kicked out. But when you get kicked out, you have to start all over again. Like, I don't really know. Like, it sounds interesting to say the least.
That's why I've been doing this shit for a year. And I did 111 days there. And I wanted to get transferred to Florida because it was just a better option until I figured out that the Marchman Act only happens in Florida.
So this is an ex parte Marchman pickup order.
We don't blame everything on everybody else.
So then Steve-O's, I've cut this clip out, but if you watch the full podcast, you'll see that Steve-O basically tries to turn this around as like, haha, these stories are funny, but you're making yourself into a victim and you should take responsibility. And it's like, with friends like this, who needs enemies? The man is sitting here trying to tell you what happened to him and how he's been shuffled around from rehab to rehab for some pretty strange reasons. And instead of saying like, wow, Bam, that's weird. Maybe I should help you look into that and make sure there's no instances of abuse or anything weird going on. No, he's laughing at Bam and saying, haha, that's cute, but stop blaming people for your problems. Does Steve-O not understand how this works? Bam doesn't have any choice. He didn't have his phone. He didn't have internet. He couldn't even listen to his own music. He had no idea where he was going next. In the police body camera footage, he even says, what's Madeira Beach? Where are you taking me? He doesn't have any control of anything. And he didn't seemingly for a whole year. Even his healthcare decisions, which chemicals he put into his own body, doesn't seem like he had any choice. And so instead of saying like, yeah, Bam, look, listen, I know that must have been tough for you. I know that must have been hard for you. Steve-O's going, stop bitching. And like with friends like that, who needs a team con when this is your friend? Look at his body. Like he's so defensive. It's like he's ready to fight. Like, why are his hands like, what is wrong with him? What is wrong with him? Does he have a neurological condition that makes empathy impossible? I'm just curious.
And assume the
No,
role
I
of a
know, but
victim.
I already knew in Arizona that I wanted to end it and be over.
What you're looking at here is the guardianship that was granted to Lima for Bam in Arizona on June 11th last year. So he said, I knew in Arizona, I already wanted to end it.
With alcohol, but I had to finish my time. And that just sucks that I had 10 more days left and I was done.
So Bam's trying to say, yeah, okay, Steve-O, I'm not trying to be a victim. What I'm trying to tell you is I had 10 more days. Like, do y'all know, like when you like expect, like imagine like you're about to finish your degree program, you're about to finish school or something like that. And you think you have 10 days. And then the principal comes in and goes, actually, everyone, state just changed the rules. Now you have 90 more days. Can you imagine the toll that would take on you psychologically, especially for someone who is neurodivergent? I can speak for myself. Being neurodivergent and not being able to rely on expectations that authorities have put in place for you can send you spiraling. I'm telling y'all, I thought I was going to the grocery store today and now I'm not, can send you absolutely spiraling. So the fact that Bam thought he had 10 days left in Arizona, but he really spent like a whole nother year in treatment, I can understand how that would be distressing and put someone in crisis. And Bam is very intelligently, eloquently explaining that to Steve-O. And Steve-O's like, stop playing the victim. Ha, 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 ha. Okay, Steve-O, imagine that you think you're about to go on vacation or you're about to go somewhere. You're about to be done with a huge commitment. And all of a sudden, you have 10 days left and they bait and switch you at the very end. Like, wouldn't you feel tricked? Wouldn't you feel betrayed? Wouldn't you feel lied to? It would be totally justified if you did. But instead, you're having no empathy and no compassion, laughing at Bam and telling him that basically you're gaslighting him, saying he had no reason to be upset about that. What you should be doing if you were a good friend, a brother, as you hilariously describe yourself at the end of the interview, with brothers like this, who needs enemies? What you should be doing is having some compassion and saying, you know what, Bam, that probably did really suck. That you thought you were going to be done in 10 days and really you had a whole nother year. I can imagine that that really sucked for you, especially considering you had no contact with the outside world that wasn't approved by someone else. You couldn't pick your own music. You couldn't go on the internet, couldn't even log into your own damn Instagram. I bet you that did suck, Bam. And you know what? I've been there. It does suck. But I promise you, if you keep it up, this is going to help you. He could have said it like that. No, he didn't. He said, stop making yourself the victim and blaming people. Steve-O, he didn't have any choice. He actually had no choice. And so it was actually other people's fault. Sometimes people really are the victim. You realize that? Sometimes people really are the victim.
But I got transferred and I had to do 90 again, and then transfer and do 90 again.
Right.
Like, when is this going to end?
So now it finally ended.
Completely reasonable. When is this going to end? When y'all go somewhere, don't you like to have an end date? And that's really the issue with conservatorships, is that you don't get due process and you don't really have a good end date in sight. I'm not saying that's what happened in Bam's conservatorship, but what I'm saying is that's a fundamental tenet of our democracy is due process and not indefinitely detaining someone, right? Like you have a definite detention if you're being detained by the state or under the order of the state. It's, like that's why we have habeas corpus petitions and stuff like that. That's why we even have right to a speedy trial by jury. It's like a whole extra constitutional amendment. And so when you're in a conservatorship or when you're in court ordered psychiatric detention, sometimes you just never know when it's going to end. Who knows? And that's one of my big problems with it, is that it seems to violate the United States Constitution. But what do I know? Steve-O clearly has the law figured out better than me.
Yes, but now I have to just do outpatient treatment in Florida till July 17th. Then I'm going to move to Southern California and just do IOP, which is just classes 3 days a week.
Let me ask you, you said about this living without your phone, living with all of these.
Look how Steve-O's like living without your phone. Like it's some stupid, like, imagine if y'all said, okay, Steve-O, give us your phone, no phone for a year. What do you think he would do? He's saying it to Bam like Bam's some little kid.
Like, what's been going on with that? Because I've seen a lot of activity on social media with the hashtag #FreeBam. And people seem to think that you're the Britney Spears of Jackass, that evil villains have taken over your life and stolen all your money. And like, can we safely say that none of...
Okay. Here's another one. I just want to correct the record, because I've never said anyone stole any of Bam's money, much less all of his money. Actually, I've been extremely careful not to say that. What I have said is, I wonder if it's possible that there are people around Bam with the financial incentive to keep him in captivity. That's a question, Steve-O. Questions are not the same thing as statements, which is something that y'all all need to understand over there on the conservatorship squad, okay? Questions are not statements. Questions are not conspiracy theories. I have asked, I wonder if there's anyone around Bam with a financial incentive to keep him in captivity. And in fact, there are people around him. Now, are those people acting on that incentive? I don't know. Maybe it's something the police could look into. Maybe it's something the FBI could look into. Maybe it's something the Department of Homeland Security could look into. I really don't know. But I've never said anyone has stolen from Bam. And in fact, I've never said Lima has stolen from Bam. I believe if Lima got any money from Bam, it was probably just like a paycheck. Conservators get paychecks. That's not like a brand new thing. So like, I've never said anyone stole money from Bam. But here's Steve-O, after Bam has already said, I haven't been able to see what people are saying online, lying. He's saying the Free Bam movement is saying your money has been stolen from you. And in fact, I know that there's a power of attorney that Bam does not have control of his money. Phil Margera has control of the money. So when Steve-O's like, that no one's taken control of all your money, someone does have control of all Bam's money. It's his dad, and he's about to say it in this podcast. Like, stop trying to gaslight me like my fucking IQ isn't 179, okay? You're not going to gaslight me. You're not going to scare me by calling me a conspiracy theorist because I know how to use logic, Steve-O. Unlike you and the rest of the team, there are people with a financial incentive to take advantage of Bam Margera. And in fact, some of those people might have access to his money. What's that trust about that Stephen B. Timmer mentioned in that police body camera footage if there's no financial incentives? There's a trust. He has a guardian. Those two sentences just follow each other just in normal conversation. The trustee hired me. There's a trust. He has a guardian. I'm not stupid, but I definitely did not say that anyone stole Bam's money. And I just want to get the record straight on that, because what Steve-O has done is create an alternate reality, like a hypothetical universe, where in that hypothetical reality, the Free Bam movement has said all kinds of things we didn't actually say. I'm not living in a clown world, Steve-O. Maybe that's where you want to live because you went to clown college, but I don't live in the clown world. I live in the real world, where the reality is there are people around Bam Margera who has the earning potential in the hundreds of millions if he had the right team around him. There are incentives for people to take advantage of him. There are people around him who could be taking advantage of him. And there does need to be some type of oversight into what's really going on, because the things that have been said publicly contradict each other.
Said about this living without your phone, living with all of these, like, what's been going on with that? Because I've seen a lot of activity on social media with the hashtag Free Bam, and people seem to think that you're the Britney Spears of Jackass. The evil villains have taken over your life and stolen all your money, and like, can we safely say that none of that is true?
I don't know what's been going on because I haven't been able to look. As a matter of fact, I can't even post on my Instagram. Everything has to go through Johnny Schiller from Heart Supply.
If you want to understand what's going on with Bam, just watch the podcast with Steve-O. He speaks for himself, and I think that's what everybody was wanting to see happen, was have him talk about that. And you can find out how's Bam. But Bam will tell you how Bam is, which is the best way to find out.
I can't even post on my Instagram. Everything has to go through Johnny Schiller from Heart Supply because I had to sign a contract, because when I was dealing with the lawsuit with Paramount and Jackass, I was posting shit like, fuck these motherfuckers, and it was potentially ruining my lawsuit. So I had to sign a paper saying that only Johnny can clear what goes through my Instagram. So I don't even know my new passcode. I can't control what goes on it.
Can I tell you, I think that's good news?
It's not good news. It's just not. It's just not. We have to be able to express ourselves in the United States of America, even where our expressions are not what other people want to hear. We have the freedom to express ourselves. It is not good that Bam Margera's professional persona is not under his control. Even if Bam is spiraling, even if he's having a meltdown, we are living in times where people are not even allowed to be free to express themselves. And people calling themselves brothers are saying it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we don't have to listen to your true feelings, Bam. It's a good thing because all of us are uncomfortable with your true feelings, your true and justified feelings. We're uncomfortable with it. So it's a good thing we don't have to look at it. That is so anti-American, anti-democratic. It's a slap in the face of the United States Constitution. It's backwards, and it doesn't promote human autonomy. I don't think it's a good thing that Bam can't control his Instagram and can't log in, especially considering a lot of people didn't even know that until this interview. That was posted 3 months later than it was recorded. It ain't a great thing that Bam cannot control his Instagram account, and you will never convince me that it is.
Like you and I couldn't be trusted with the laptop computer until
So now because Steve-O's too dumb to use a laptop, everybody else got to follow Steve-O's rules.
I had been completely sober for 9 months. And even then,
Yeah.
it was a little bit questionable. So
Yeah,
I think that having that filter,
This hand movement.
I think
It's almost like what magicians do, right? When they're trying to trick you and deceive you, they like move their hands all around, like, and before you know it, you don't even have your watch on anymore. Like, I feel like it's like a weird sleight of hand thing. Like, imagine like you're talking to somebody and they're just doing this the whole time. Like, it's so unnatural. I've never seen anyone talk like that other than like someone who's trying to trick me.
I think that's absolutely great news. And I hope too, because I think that looking at your social media since you got out of treatment, it's feeling a lot more like
hands.
you. When you were in treatment, it was f***ing obvious that was not Bam posting. It was not in your voice. It was like oddly, like sort of masquerading as you, but it wasn't you. And it seemed.
So Steve was like, it was weird because it wasn't convincing. But now that someone else is posting for you and it's convincing, and it's the version of Bam that I want to read, it's the version of you that I've built up in my head. Someone's posting as if they're you, it's better. Like what in the clown world? These people are so inside their own echo chamber, they don't even understand how bizarre this stuff sounds.
Seemed kind of ingenuine, and it's starting to feel more genuine. So I get the sense that you're participating in what goes out.
What?
Yeah, I still haven't looked to see what has happened. Still haven't looked to see what has happened. I still haven't looked to see what has happened, but now that I have my phone back, I just shoot photos, send it to Schiller F, and if he likes it or whatever, then he'll post it.
That's good.
I mean,
That's good?
That's good, man, because dude, it's tough to see some of that.
Now Steve-O's going to tell us about his feelings and how his feelings about Bam's Instagram account are more important than Bam being able to express himself.
That you were posting, man.
Aw,
at the time, I just figured Instagram should be real because everybody's posting stuff like at the beach with my buddies having a blast, at the blah 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 having a blast. I'm like, why can't it be like this fucker backed into me and I'm having a shit day?
Why can't it?
Like that's why.
But like Bam is right. He is not a brand. He is a person. He is a human who should have the ability, like all of us should, to express his true feelings on Instagram, not filtered through some other weirdo, not filtered through some business partner. So it's like, what the hell is this business partner doing controlling Bam's Instagram? Bam is right. Instagram should be real. People should be able to post what they want on their own Instagram, even if it's, man, I'm having a bad day. Because when I post about having a bad day on my Instagram, y'all come to the rescue. Y'all tell me nice things. You support me. When other people are having a bad day on Instagram, we support them. But Bam is being forced by his brother to be something he's not. And I cannot imagine the emotional turmoil that probably goes into being forced to be something you're not all the time by everyone you're surrounded with and being gaslit whenever you say, this isn't cool.
If I'm having a problem, I'm going to post it, like,
yeah, why not?
And I guess that's not the case because it's like, Bam's at it again, Like,
yeah, the problem is that it was very real, and what was real was that you were having a fucking meltdown.
And as someone with autism, this is particularly scary to me because that is what it is called when you have an autism sort of like episode. It's called a meltdown. I'm not supposed to be able to post about my meltdowns because then somebody's going to take my phone privileges? What? It's part of autism. Like, I thought we were moving into a society in a direction that we were more understanding of meltdowns. But here's Steve-O, Bam's brother, laughing in his face about having a meltdown. I'm not saying Bam's autistic. I am autistic. And when I have a little episode, it's called a meltdown. And sometimes I go on Instagram and post about it. So what? I shouldn't be able to do that according to Steve-O. And that's concerning because Steve-O also advocates for people to be involuntarily detained in psychiatric institutions for longer than they thought they were going to be. He advocates for people to not have access to their phones at all. He advocates for people not to be able to post as themselves if they're on drugs. What is really going on here? This is weird propaganda, and I don't like the direction it's going.
Like you could have used a little bit of less real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a post at the beach would have done nice.
Right.
Man,
Bam, you said that you haven't been able to see any of the stuff that's been going on social media, and I think that that's probably a blessing.
But Steve-O has a question that he's been directed to get an answer to, and we're about to hear it.
Fuck what goes on social media. There's nothing that we need to see there.
If there's nothing we need to see there, Steve-O, how do you know about the free BAM movement, sweetheart? And why am I blocked on Instagram? Unblock me.
But from your perspective of what you have seen and what
he hasn't seen anything. He said that many times. I still haven't been on to check. I haven't seen what was going on. That is what he said. Here's Steve-O. What you have seen. What is it that you have seen?
What your experience has been over the last year. Can we safely say that you have not been a prisoner and mistreated?
From who, Lima?
Just have a judge's order,
From
alright?
Lima?
I don't know. I just know a judge said you got to go into protective custody.
Is this Lima's doing?
I don't know whose doing it is.
Ow.
Yeah, these
I included this clip because he's in handcuffs and he's saying ow and it hurts. And the question Steve-O asked was, is it safe to say you haven't been a prisoner and mistreated?
aren't that comfortable, man. I know.
No, it sucks.
Yeah, they're hinge cuffs. They're not supposed to be comfortable.
I can't believe
Pat, you guys good?
I'm getting 5150 again.
And like stolen from the whole help us understand your situation.
No,
Stolen from.
I was just getting treatment for my alcohol and bipolar, and I just did more time than I was supposed to just from getting kicked out for dumb reasons.
Bacteria buildup, health risks.
But now I'm out. I get freedom. I get a phone, and nobody was forcing me to be there.
Yeah. It means I have to go to rehab again?
Yeah, the judge signed you.
How long do you think?
I don't know.
And there's this really crazy lady that I know who has been like posting my guardian's number on my Aunt Missy Nick Dompierre's proxy.
No, I don't want him to see.
Yeah, no,
It's supposed to be a.
yeah, but that's why we're here.
But can I go downstairs with Steve? Yeah, you can just say that you took me into custody. Let him think you took me.
Okay.
And like has just been on a prowl, just making up so many lies. She now has a lawsuit by 5 different people.
I do not have a lawsuit by 5 different people. And that's really what made me know that Bam doesn't know what's going on. He's being told stuff by somebody because he said he hasn't seen anything on social media. He said, I know there's one lady who's posted this thing and that thing, and she's on a prowl. He's about to say, I think she's even a lawyer, and that's why she can get the stuff. Let me be very clear. That ain't why I can get the stuff. If you live in the United States of America, you can get everything I have. Everything I have. And that's part of the reason I do this, is to show y'all you should not have to be a lawyer. And it's to show y'all, here's the stuff I learned and you can go do it. I do not have special access to that body camera footage. I mean, I guess I do because I had to pay for it, but you can pay for it too and you can get it too. Or if I didn't pay for it, you could have gotten it. All that stuff. It's not because I'm a lawyer. But this part about having a lawsuit between 5 different people and his friends and family. And this was recorded 3 months ago. There was no lawsuit against anybody 3 months ago in May. So that's what made me aware, like, this is just a big PR push. I don't know who. Okay. I want to be very clear. I do not know who told him this stuff. It's obvious to me someone lied to Bam. That's a lie. Someone lied to Bam and said there was lawsuits with 5 different people because there's not. There's not lawsuits with any of his family members. And so that's how I know that the stuff that Bam is saying is just kind of being like, this was an obvious PR push by somebody
that are my friends or family and I think she's even a fucking lawyer or something, but that's why she can get the dirt of everything. She has footage of me barfing in the back of the police car. She has footage of me getting handcuffed out of this nice hotel in Madero Beach.
She gets the worst guardian ever award. Worst guardian ever award. I'm looking out for your best interest. No, you get the worst guardian ever award.
Is this the stubborn one?
Yeah.
When I was going to surprise Nikki and Phoenix at a joint room at the top suite. I forget what the name was, but as soon as I went in to surprise knock and surprise them, the cops were already there to arrest me.
All right, so Steve, the Britney Spears thing, like that was a conservatorship, and this is different, right?
Britney Spears had a conservatorship, which has financial implications in which, like, she had no control of her own money, and other people could spend their own money. And despite, like, people, conspiracy theorists online trying to say that a guardianship is the same as a conservatorship, it's not.
So
You were hired by
by the trustee. There's a trust. You'll see a trust. He has a guardian.
And nobody has taken control of your money, Bam. Can we confirm that?
The trustee. There's a trust. He has a guardian.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad is my accountant, and it goes nowhere else but his pocket.
Right. So that can help shut up a lot of noise that is very counterproductive, very destructive, and just bullshit. Thank you for clearing that up.
So here's the clearing up. First of all, I never said someone was in control of Bam's money. I just want to say that. I said it's possible that there are financial implications of a conservatorship. Now, Steve-O's all caught up. Bless his heart. The reason that conservatorship and guardianship are the same thing is because it strips the ward or the conservatee of constitutionally protected rights and privileges. There is, in some states, there's a distinction between a conservatorship and a guardianship because there's financial implications. I never said that there was definitely financial implications. I said there probably were, and I'm standing by that. There probably were. Clearly, Stephen B. Timmer was hired by the trustee of the trust. What trust? Who's the trustee of the trust? If it's not Bam, I'm sure Bam didn't hire Stephen B. Timmer to come lock him up or march him and act him. So who is the trustee? So Steve-O's big reveal is that's going to shut some people up because there's no financial implications. No one's taking over your money, right, Bam? And Bam goes, my money goes nowhere but my dad's pocket. Hands. Okay, well, you just told me someone's in charge of your money then. So I didn't say that. I did not say someone was in charge of Bam's money. Bam said someone's in charge of his money. So thank you, Bam, for clearing that up for me, the conspiracy theorist who actually really doesn't know who's in charge of your money. Thank you for that piece of evidence, because Steve-O's acting like it was a big ha-ha, and Bam's like, yeah, no, I'm not in charge of my money, that my dad is.
Last year is that you've gotten help which you acknowledge that you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had to check if Margera
everybody
goes to the new
handles everything on social media for me. So at the moment, can't control my Instagram. Facebook has been long gone.
That's fine. And it's better to bank good
YouTube,
content.
I don't know yet because you just started it, but like everything is just out of my hands.
Which is fine.
Look at Bam. He's in distress. Look at his face when he says everything is just out of my hands. I cannot imagine that feeling. I mean, I can actually, because there's been times in my life where everything was out of my hands and I hated it. But watch when he says everything is just out of my hands. He's suffering. He's a man in suffering and crying out for help, and no one is listening to him. They hear him, but they hear what they want to hear.
Like everything is just out of my hands.
Which is fine.
Steve-O gaslighting him. It's fine.
Which is fine. If at this point, Bam, if you can worry about one thing, which is get through.
And Bam's just like, whatever. Like, I'm not even going to try and communicate this idea to you. Like, obviously, it's falling on deaf ears.
Through the day without drinking alcohol or taking drugs, and pull that off, then every day's a good day. Don't worry about anything else. And stay sober and be productive, be focused, and
worst part was I had to go a year
more talking. Bam's getting his talking points in.
Without seeing Phoenix, and the age of four is such a fun age, and I missed it all, and I just feel like I've so much lost time to make up for, and I just want to play with him and teach him everything I know and just make up for the fucking year that I missed. you know,
Yeah,
and I don't want to spend any time wasting time at any bars or anything anymore. I've done that far too long. Don't need it anymore. And Danny Way and Yellow Wolf are doing this 5150 cycle.
Danny Way and Yellow Wolf are doing this 5150 psycho elixir drink that they want to put Bam's name on. Like now it's a funny thing to market like a 5150 psycho. Ha ha ha. I am not liking the direction that this is going.
Elixir drink that they want me involved in. And when I was in rehab, I was wondering why I had a nutritionist and I wasn't losing any weight. And I found out that my one roommate, Big Ben, he's like, I'm like, have you always been this big? He's like, no, I gained 100 pounds in here. I'm like, how? He's like, from Zyprexa and Depakote. I'm like, that's what the fuck I'm on.
Bam is so smart. He's saying he's gaining weight because of the medications that they put him on.
I'm like, Doc, why do you give me Zyprexa and Depakote? I told you I'm depressed because I'm top heavy.
He said, I'm depressed because I'm top heavy, carrying around more pounds than he wants. And now you're giving me medicine that's going to make me more top heavy, more gaining weight. And that's going to make me more depressed. He's saying these doctors aren't doing what's in his best interest. And to be honest, like if you have a patient who is depressed because of their weight, I do think you shouldn't be giving them medications that cause weight gain.
And I can't skate. And he's like, well, it's an antidepressant. I'm like, but I'm getting more depressed, you idiot. So I got off that and I was dropping a pound a day. So
to answer
I'm
Scott's
happy
question,
about that. So once I get to the weight that I want
the
to,
live show,
then I'll start.
Like imagine you're on an interview with your friends, people who are calling you brother, and like you're telling them about becoming more depressed because you gained weight, and all three of them are just laughing at you like something's wrong with these people. They need Jesus.
All right, man. And we can tell everybody to follow your social media, but you're not going to know about it.
Yeah, man.
All right, dude. Take care, brother.
Later, bro.
All right, see ya.
So there you have it. We heard it from the horse's mouth. And
So what did we hear from the horse's mouth? He had no access to his phone for a year. He had no access to internet for a year. He had no access to choose his own music for a year. He was shuffled from treatment center to treatment center after being told that he was only going to be there for a certain amount of time, and it ended up being way longer. And he hasn't seen anything about Free Bam on social media. There you have it, guys. You heard it from the horse's mouth. See how they try to spin this stuff? That's like whenever Lima said they saved Amanda's life, but she's dead.
as I said in the intro, this was recorded with Bam some time ago. It was back in May. And I'm sure a lot of you know that shortly after, he had some issues where he fled from rehab. Well, he is back in rehab, and I urge everybody, please be supportive of Bam being in rehab, of taking sobriety serious.
I am supportive of Bam being in rehab. I am supportive of Bam taking sobriety seriously. I am supportive of Bam being in recovery, being in active recovery. But I am not supportive of him having to do that while having less constitutional rights than me or Steve-O. Bam should make these decisions on his own. Bam should make the decisions of what medications he is taking on his own. He should make a decision of whether he wants to be in rehab or not on his own. I am supportive of Bam getting treatment, of Bam getting better, of Bam living a happy, strong, healthy life and being a great father to his son. I am not supportive of someone else forcing their version of recovery, their version of treatment, and their version of what they want Bam Margera to be on to him. Okay, so that is what I want to be very clear about. If you take nothing else from this entire reaction video, you need to take that. I am in full support of Bam getting better, Bam recovering, Bam being sober. I think it would be the best thing for him. But it don't matter what I think, Steve-O. And it frankly shouldn't matter what you think. The only person that should matter here is Bam Margera himself and his little baby child. That the best interest of Bam and the baby child should be first. And it should all happen constitutionally with everyone's rights being respected, including due process and knowing how long you're going to be detained and all of that.
Anybody who's talking about free Bam, let him out, get him out of treatment, like
another hypothetical clown world that I didn't say. I didn't say free Bam, let him out of treatment. No. I said free Bam, let him make his own decision. Free Bam from this conservatorship. Free Bam from this Florida shuffle. Free Bam from other people making his medical decisions. Okay? So Steve-O's creating a hypothetical clown world that I did not say, accrediting us for things that we did not say. Anybody who says free Bam is then therefore saying let him out of treatment, is then therefore saying he should be loaded all the time. Like, it's irresponsible, libelous, and defamatory for Steve-O to even have made these statements and these allegations. Let's see what he said one more time.
please be supportive
I am.
of Bam being in rehab.
I am.
Of
Good job,
taking
Bam.
sobriety seriously. Because anybody who's talking about free Bam, let him out, get him out of treatment, like, you're trying to kill my fucking brother, you know.
And this is the most disrespectful and alarming allegation that I have heard. Because now if something happens to Bam, they're going to say it was the free Bam people who did it because we were encouraging him to get loaded. That's a lie. That's a lie. I've never encouraged Bam to get loaded. Never, not once. And the fact that Steve-O is saying that if something bad happens to Bam, insofar as him losing his life, it's the free Bam movement's fault. But what did Bam tell us in this interview? That Johnny Knoxville and Jeff Tremaine specifically made him want to jump off of the highest building on earth. Bam said that. He said he didn't even know what was going on with free Bam on social media. So Steve-O's sitting here and saying that free Bam, by advocating that the man decides what chemicals go in his own body and what treatment facility he goes to, is killing him. That is alarming, libelous, and defamatory, and not true. Nobody's trying to kill your brother. What we're trying to do actually is make sure that he lives a happy, strong, and healthy life with medical and bodily autonomy.
And don't do that. Let's all please be supportive.
I'm not doing that. The thing that Steve-O said we were doing is encouraging him to get loaded and run away from treatment and not get treatment. That is not what we are doing. So if that anybody out there is doing that, I guess y'all can stop. But I know Steve-O's not talking about me because this is not something that I've ever done.
You're trying to kill my fucking brother.
No, we're not.
And don't do that.
No, we're not.
Let's all please be supportive of Bam's sobriety.
I am very supportive of Bam's sobriety. So we're on the same page on that one, Steve.
Thank you for sticking around to the end. Lots of love.